All right, y'all, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. I am excited about the guest that we have today. We have none other than Matty J, CEO, serial entrepreneur, business, serial impactor. Like, this guy is going to help you scale your business. There's so much that's gonna happen. I want you to tap and tune in. But for those who don't know, who Matty J is, tell the people, who is CEO Matty J?
First, I want to give all thanks and praise to God Elohim for this platform to even exist, all right? I'm CEO Matty J. I'm a digital real estate agent, contractor, investor. Everything that you see people do in the physical world when it comes to real estate, we're actually doing it at a very, very large scale online with me, not just me, but my team as well. So like I mentioned before, I think digital real estate and protecting our IP, intellectual property, is super big, and I'm helping facilitate that for those who want to tap in.
I spent hours and hours with this man on Clubhouse, listening to game after game after game. I'm talking about hours, though. I'm not saying an hour or two. I'm talking about I've been on Clubhouse listening to this man for hours. He is somebody that you need to listen to, and you're gonna see why. And so this ain't hype. I ain't trying to fluff it. This guy knows what he's talking about. And so let's start there. For those who know, who don't know, who've never really tapped in, who is Matty J?
What's going on, everybody? God bless you. I first want to give all thanks and praise to God Elohim for this interview. You and the team, everybody's making this situation happen. Audience for tuning in. As you guys know, I'm CEO Matty J. I consider myself a digital real estate agent, an investor, a contractor, because the things that we see in the physical world when it comes to real estate, buying, flipping, investing in homes, we're actually doing this online, and we've been doing this since around 2010. And through that process, I learned a lot, I grew a lot, and I want to really share the game on how I got to where I am in all capacities, all levels, to anybody who's willing to listen.
Bars, right?
Yeah.
And so how did you get to that space, right? So you say you've been doing it since 2010.
Yeah.
I know, there's multiple businesses that I want to talk, that I know of. I don't know about all of them, but I know multiple businesses that I know of that I want to talk about. But how did you, how did you get to this space? How did you get to the digital space? How did you get your start in entrepreneurship?
This is gonna be the first time this is actually gonna be documented. I said it on Clubhouse, but nobody's actually seen this on a document level. So I actually started off throwing parties. I was throwing events, and as I'm a promoter, my name was on all these flyers. I didn't know it was considered marketing at the time. I was just gonna make sure that the party was popping and we had a good time. So when I was passing out these flyers and my name was on it, we were passing out like thousands of flyers to different colleges, high schools, and my name started blowing up in LA. Like, I'm become known, that dude to go to when it comes to knowing what the nightlife was looking like. But the problem was that we weren't really making any money. Oh, well, at least I wasn't.
Right. Somebody was.
Somebody wasn't.
Right.
Right? So I would pack these clubs out, right? Yeah. I was considered a promoter or a sub-promoter, and it was a situation where you just say my name at the door, you get $5 off, and that's how they'll track to see who came from me. Yeah. And you'll see the end of the list at the end of the night. Dang, Matty J brought everybody, but where's the money to equate to it? It wasn't there. Right. And it wasn't an issue, to be honest, because I was enjoying my time. I wasn't doing it for the money at that point. But it got to a point where I'm turning 19, 20, I moved out my parents' house, and now I needed the funds to be able to live. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, it's not coming directly. I'm not a complainer. I'm not gonna say, yo, give me some more money or none of that situation. I learned how to design flyers. I'm designing flyers. I'm at college. I actually was enrolled in college, Pierce College in Cali. I never went to class. I was always in the computer lab, learning how to design. So I'm designing, I'm getting really good. I'm designing these party flyers, and I'm charging a promoter $70 for a flyer. These promoters were throwing 7 parties a day, right? These 7 different promoters, 7 parties a day, 7 days a week. And I'm charging them $70 for the flyers. So I'm making the flyers, and I'm receiving that same benefit of having my name on the flyer without actually have to promote it, with having my name, my logo at the bottom as the one who actually made the flyer design. So I'm now being known as the Design Connect. Now everybody knows me for designs, and now people are coming to me, yo, can you make my flyer? Can you make my birthday invitation? Now I'm making money. So I'm getting access to these clubs and making money, but at these clubs, these celebrities are there. So I'm now working and rubbing shoulders with these celebrities, but most people, when they run into a celebrity, they don't have nothing to offer. Right. So I'm offering something to these celebrities, Waka Flocka, Soulja Boy. When I see them, I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to, yo, what can I do for them? they needed flyer designs. And at that time, everybody needed mixtape covers. So I transitioned from party flyers to mixtape covers. I ended up doing Soulja Boy's mixtape cover. I ended up doing YG's mixtape cover in LA. And that's when I started blowing up in that specific space of influence. These celebrities are now reaching out to me. Their managers are now reaching out to me. Can you take care of our mixtape cover? And they were dropping out mixtape covers. Back in those days, Dat Piff, live mixtapes every 2 weeks. So I was the plug for that. So I started getting my influence in that space. I'm making money. But then that transitioned to me gaining my own influence on my social media page. My Twitter started to blow up. And I'm really big on identifying opportunities on platforms like social media. So Twitter was really big on entertainment, posting tweets that really entertain people. I was posting so many tweets that was so entertaining, it became trending topics. All the tweets, my team of influence, we were making trending topic after trending topic after trending topic, and started getting the ears and eyes of other celebrities that were reaching out to me like, yo, how are you getting all these followers on this platform? And they just started following suit. And that transitioned to me having my own clothing line. That blew up on Shopify, making thousands of dollars per day. But the problem with that was I knew how to market a business, but I didn't know how to run a business. At all. All the money that was coming in, mismanaged. I would spend it. I moved to Vegas at this time. I'm rocking with Floyd Mayweather and DJ J Bling. And all the money that was coming in, I was like, okay, I'm making all this money. I can just go spend it at these little, I'll call adult arcades, these casinos, spend this money, right? But it got to a point where I was spending this money with not the mindset of, I had the mindset of all the money that was coming in, I'll just make it back the next day, right? But I was spending money that was actually supposed to be used to fulfill orders, right? So money would come in, say $1,000 came in for the day. I'll spend the $1,000, right? Thinking like I'll just make the $1,000. Now I'm looking back at it, when $1,000 comes in, that's not the money I'm supposed to be spending. Probably 20% of that was probably profit that I can use for myself. Of course. Right? And because I didn't have any guidance, no mentors, nobody, I wasn't privy to it, so I learned the hard way. And as I learned the hard way, I start to double back like, okay, cool. I need to realize that what I'm doing right now is not productive. On the outside, everybody sees the success of these businesses, but on the back end, I'm struggling to fulfill orders. I need help. I need shipping fulfillment, customer support, accounting, all these things that allow a business to actually be an organized business. I didn't have the tools. So I actually discontinued a popping brand. Like I discontinued. Everybody was like, yo, why is the website down? Because I need to figure out how to run this business as a business owner. And as I took a step back, I did a hack to learn how to be a business owner. I started managing other people's businesses for. I wasn't the best business owner, but through that process of managing other business people, it helped me accountable to be more professional, to more privy to the things I need to be paying attention to, because it's somebody else's business. My business, I can do whatever I want, who cares? That's the mindset I have. Sometimes we have no problem disappointing ourselves, but disappointing other people, there's a little bit more accountability there. So I actually got in the space of, let me help other business owners, and the way I got in that space was helping them with their website design first. So I helped them with the website design, and then I got the back end, I got to see what's going on in the back end. I was like, oh, now that I see the back end, yeah, you have a beautiful website, but there's some things that in the back end that you probably need help with to take it to the next level. So they reached out to me and hired me as a brand manager, brand developer, and that's how I got my experience. And that's the point where I became a consultant.
So now you're at a space where you buy businesses, you flip businesses, you make them profitable. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so as a consultant, people were coming to me with their businesses. And I realized that they were paying me $2,500, $5,000 for these consulting or packages. And I realized that their money that they're spending to help fix a business that might not be the most marketable, I had to take the initiative to say, I can't accept this money. Let's figure out more of the business model first, the business revenue model, before you start paying me for like web development or branding and looks. Let's get into the core meat of the business. And
why is that important, right? Like, why is, because I think what you just said there is what a lot of people do, right? A lot of people, oh, I got this great idea, or, I'm great at this, so I want to start a business doing this. And not really fully fleshing out what the business model is. So why is that important?
Yeah, just like back to the architect word. It's like it's the blueprint.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they see the vision of what their house is going to be like, and they just start building off of that without creating any type of framework or foundation.
That's good.
And I'm very logical and analytical, so I have to see things in steps and sequence.
Yep.
So I realized that a lot of business owners, they do the right things. They know the things that they need to build, get their LLC, photos, and websites, social media, but we just end up doing it in the wrong order. So if we have a blueprint that allows us to know, okay, I need to do this first, let me focus on that, build this out correctly, and then move on to the next step and to the next step and build it like that, like a home is built, we can be a little bit more productive to the point where if something breaks in the business, it's easier to identify the problem because you can reverse engineer something that was engineered well.
Right.
So that was the process that I realized that was lacking. So I built my businesses. I was able to double back to see what I did wrong, and I documented the process on how I started it and how I got to where I got. And I really identified, okay, this is how it was built. So I use that framework to teach people, yo, if you want to build your business effectively, you can do it however you want, and you probably will still be successful.
Yep.
But if you want to be a little bit more efficient and a little bit more effective and resourceful, this is my recommended steps. So that word architect keeps being brought up. Brand architect, brand developer, and it allowed me also realize that even when we purchase a domain name, the word domain means territory.
Right.
Literally territory. So when we purchase a domain, we have territory on the online web.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, this is real estate talk.
Right.
This is real estate talk.
Real estate agent. Yeah. Love it.
Easy. So I'm like, okay, how do real estate agents move? They broker deals for houses to be bought, sold, renovated. Like there's the contractor, general contractor. All those different roles that exist in the real estate space, I said, okay, how can we translate that to the internet digital space? It's digital real estate. We can do it. That's how I start buying business. I'm like, I don't have to start a business. I can buy one that already exists.
Right.
So I have to start asking myself, why would somebody allow me to buy it? Well, might be because they're tired of the business or they don't know how to market it. They might have a good idea. They're just missing little components there. Or they just need the money. Whatever reason, same reason why somebody sell a house.
Right, exactly.
The same reason why somebody probably want to sell a business. So that's why I start coming up with the ideas, okay, instead of you having to focus on because some people just want to build a business just because they want to build a business and have freedom outside the 9-to-5. So they just look at whatever idea that comes across them first and try to build it out.
Yeah.
So because it came into them that way, it's not going to be built the most effective way. So I said, okay, instead of coming up with your own idea, let me find a business that's already been validated, it's already been proven, and let me just sell it to you as a business in a box. And so that's how I start brokering deals like that. And I'm really good at finding ideas. I'm a visionary. I'm really good at identifying opportunities. But the thing is, I don't have the capacity to build every single business that I come up across or come up with the idea for. So instead of hoarding those ideas, I basically not just sell the idea, but I actually activate it, build it out on its basic form and say, look, I came up with this idea, I identified an opportunity, now it's packaged for you to be able to run for yourself.
Wow.
And people love that, the business in a box model.
And so I've actually seen you with receipts, like been able to like, build businesses, sell businesses, and like actual conversations of people who have made 5 figures, like made money off of these businesses that you've built. And so then I know you own some Airbnbs. I know I love what you've done in the car rental space. So talk to me a little bit about the vision around owning Airbnbs, but then I need that energy, that play, that car rental play. different. So talk to us about the Airbnbs first.
Yeah, so for me, I love building businesses because I know the whole point of a business is to identify a problem and be the one to volunteer to solve it. So I love solving problems. I love serving people who need solutions via a business. So I'm not a specialist, I'm a generalist. So I like tapping in different industries and building business within those different industries, i.e. Airbnb. I realized that Airbnb is a peer-to-peer platform that allows people to easy entry to be able to make money in the real estate space.
Absolutely.
Right? You have the keys to a building, you can make money, generate income by giving somebody temporary access to that specific unit. So the reason why I got to Airbnb and Turo was this though. I'm a marketer by trade. I love marketing, I love business development, I love building other people's businesses and help facilitating them on that end. But I realized when I'm sitting down with these celebrities, these influencers, a lot of the marketing jargon that I was trying to share them that they needed help with, you need email marketing. Right, you need this.
Right.
Merchandise and song sales is cool, but you need to have this. It was going over their head.
Yeah.
So I needed something else to be able to build that relationship so I can be able to do the marketing on the back end. They love the cars, the condos, the drip. That's what those are three things that and our culture loves. It gets flashy about. So if I can figure out a way to provide all these artists, when they come into Atlanta with a place to stay and a car to drive, I'll be the plug, right? And if I'm the plug, that balloons the relationship.
Wait. So, all right, so look. You got the influence, you're helping people with marketing. That's the play. But how do you become of service? And so you figured out I could provide value by meeting the demand of when people come into Atlanta, you become the plug that way. That gives you access to them.
Yes.
Genius.
Access. That's what it is. Because it's one thing we know Matty, he's doing this thing, he's making his money, okay, cool, but we got to connect these dots. So I have a lot of dots, but I didn't have any connections. So I wanted to make sure I had the connections so I can turn those connections into collections so we could all eat together. And most importantly, serve an audience and show an example that these different businesses exist. So for example, a celebrity, if the celebrity is really good at entrepreneurship and business, that will inspire all their followers to be able to tap into it too. So it's not just about the celebrity influencers business, it's about everybody that's watching them.
Absolutely.
So I saw the bigger play. So I used, again, Airbnb as leverage, Turo as leverage. I didn't need the cash flow from those different revenue streams, even though it was super good. I really wanted to tap into the relationship. So like I mentioned before, Mr. 2 Weeks, Jason, he plugged me in with Lamar Odom because I had a space. Lamar Odom is flying into Atlanta. He has a house built. It's not finished being built, so he needs a place to stay. He can stay at a hotel, or he can hit up one of his homies. You got anything for me? Hits up Jason, Mr. 2 Weeks out. Says, yo, you got anybody who knows anything about Airbnb or got any spots I can, set my situation up until our house is built? Jason hits me up. He was able to hit me up because I had my situation set up. I had my townhouses, my condos in Midtown. Jason hit me up, DM me, yo, I got somebody who wants to stay. Is it available? I was like, yeah. I connected him with my assistant. I come to find out, my assistant helps him in. I look at the camera, I'm like, hold up. Who's that in the camera? Lamar Odom. What things going on? I text Jason like, man, Lamar Odom is fine. Right? And that just lifted, and I made sure he got taken care of. He got taken care of. Now he wants to give me the money directly to my hand. So now I'm meeting Lamar, we chopping it up, have an opportunity to talk about business. Dang, I didn't know you do all this. I thought you just do this little Airbnb. And the door is now open. Right? And now I double back and shoot referrals, love to Jason for plugging that in, you know what I'm saying? And if the conversations are continuous and the servitude is continuous, those opportunities are gonna keep going over and over and over to the point where 21 Savage stayed in my Airbnbs. He lives in Atlanta, but he always is booking my spot because he loves being at that spot. Wale, all these different NBA players, celebrities, artists, things of that nature. And I made sure that I set up my Airbnbs to attract that specific crowd. Everything was really strategic.
For sure.
It wasn't just set up an Airbnb and a place to sleep. No, it's decored out to make sure that I'm attracting the musicians, the artists, the NBA players. So when they pull up, they're like, yo, that's the spot I want to stay at.
Nice.
Yeah, and the word goes out. But it wasn't just Airbnbs that they need to stay. They need a car to drive too. They're used to driving their Maseratis, Rolls Royce, Mercedes-Benz, all these cars are back home, but when they come to a different city, they need something comparable. Right? So I made sure that I had a list of cars that they can tap into, and of course they can pay for it at my retail price, but if it makes sense, here, you can have the car for 3 days. Right now, Tammy Roman, amazing, she's super amazing and super dope and real and humble. Tammy Roman, Basketball Wives, y'all don't watch TV too much, but she's in Atlanta doing a show, right? They pay her out to be out here for like 3 months. She needs a spot, right? Word got around that Matty's the dude with the spots. Hit me up, right? Got the spot, she's in there. I think the production paid me $15,000 for about 58 days. And she also needed a car. They gave her some regular car, which is cool. Camry told her Camry's cool, but that's Tammy Roman. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, let me make sure you get this Porsche Macan. I'm able to do that, plug her in like that. So what I'm doing is right now is being at service to the point where networks start to cross-pollinate. She's gonna start plugging me in with her network now, right? As somebody who's a plug in certain situations. And we don't always gotta be the plug, we can be the extension cord too.
Right.
So I didn't have to actually get all these cars. I can knew the person who has these cars and plugged it in like that.
Right. Oh, I love it. You don't gotta be the plug. You can also be the extent. Yo,
Facts.
bars over bars over bars. And so now, right? I love the story, right? I love the story. I love how everything is connected, and I want everybody to understand that this is about value first, right? Finding the need, putting in the value, and then once you put in the value, the opportunity starts to come. You start to connect the dots, and so I love the play, right? You go from 3 cars,
quick.
and then from 3 cars. You got 33 cars in a 2-week span.
Yeah, it started to make sense.
And so talk to us about that because I think that it was genius, right? First and foremost, especially as somebody. So I'm a former banker, right? So I worked in the banking industry.
You know what time it is?
I know what time it is. I work in the banking industry 15 years.
Yeah.
I was a CEO of a credit union. That's my lane.
Yeah.
And so when I heard you talk about this 33 car play, you know what I mean? This 33 car play, I said, this man is a living genius. Talk to us about that, man.
Yeah, so my risk tolerance is really high. I'm gonna put that out there
Big
first.
facts though, right?
Right.
And not to cut you off. That was the first thing I said. I said, yo, this dude is fearless. Yo, I said, in order to run that play, and I'm teeing it up for y'all so y'all can understand. In order to run that play, yo, risk tolerance for 1 car. People's risk tolerance for 1 car.
Yeah. It's difficult.
Yo, you did it 30. Tell us about this play.
I know this conversation and this platform is about mindset.
Absolutely.
That was a huge contributor to the plays that I'm running.
Absolutely.
Again, I said risk tolerance, but it's really contributed to experience that I've had when it comes to trusting the process. I trust God's process that I'm in this situation. Whatever reason I'm in this situation, I'm just gonna roll the punches, and if it makes sense, when it comes to the data, because one of my favorite lines is if you gotta know the numbers to grow the numbers. I started off with 1 car. I didn't just start off with 33.
Right.
I started off with 1.
Yep.
My Tesla, and this was my personal car.
Yep.
Low risk at the point because I'm already paying $900, $1,200 with the insurance for this specific car note. Somebody said, yo, Matt, you don't drive your car like that. You're at Atlantic Station. There's a website called Turo where you can literally put your cars on and rent it out to people, right? I have no personal attachment to my cars.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I drive it. I need it when I need it. You guys can drive it whenever you need to. Cool. I came to find out that it wasn't just a way to subsidize or mitigate my car note. I was making money off of this car. I was making $2,600 profit.
So there's liability, right? There's liability turned to an asset, right? Assets over liabilities, if you know, you know. So you turned that a liability into an asset.
Quick. And that's where the quote was birthed. Turning liabilities on wheels into assets making deals, right? Most people drive these cars, and these cars are underutilized, like mine was.
Yep.
We paid $600, $300 a month for a car that we are barely driving.
Yep.
You might drive your car 2 hours per day, and it's parked for the rest of the day.
Right.
You drive your car to your job, takes your hour commute, and your car is parked for 6 hours while you're working, or 8 hours. Then you get in the car back, drive for another hour, and it's just parked for 12 hours while you sleep.
Right.
Underutilized.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can we overutilize this car so it makes sense? Make it make sense.
Right.
While I'm paying $900 for this vehicle that I'm barely driving.
Right.
So Turo made it make sense. Don't worry, you don't have to make this a car that's just parked in your driveway or you're at your job. Rent it out to other people. Share.
Yep.
Share? Oh, that's me.
Right.
I love sharing.
Right.
I have no problem with sharing.
Right.
And I can get paid to share.
Right.
Say less.
Right.
Put it on there, made my $2,600. With my first car, I said, okay, let me get a second car and third car. I got 2 cars at the same time. I ended up getting my Maserati and a Mercedes C300. After doing research, of course, and seeing what cars really rent the best on that specific platform. So I did my research. This is a good renter. Got those cars from Gravity Auto. Shout out to Nick. Got those cars and Shane. I put it on the platform. They got booked instantly. Booked instantly. But it wasn't just a smooth sailing. When I got that Maserati, there are certain things I didn't check about that car that caused me to take a quick L.
Right.
I didn't check the rotors, right? to see, I didn't know about nothing about car buying. I just knew about driving the car. I didn't know about buying these cars and making sure that they're good. So I'm driving the car back home. The car starts to wobble. I'm like, oh, here we go. The nonsense, the shenanigans, right? And I come to find out, I pull into the Firestone and they tell me that the car, the rotors are horrible and the tires are completely bald. I couldn't tell from the outside, it was in the inside. And that also told me that the wheel alignment was a little bit off too, because if it's only bald on one side of the tire, anyways, whole point was this. I said, how much does it cost to fix it? He said, first off, we don't touch Maseratis. I'm like, oh, here we go. Yep. Firestone, they can't touch a lot of Maserati. So I call Maserati. Cool, you need new brakes? They tell me $1,800 for new brakes.
Wow.
Right? What I should have done was, I should have hired somebody to check the car for me. Right? I actually did when I was there. But he was talking about $400. Man, I'm about to pay you $400 for a car that I might not buy. Right. I didn't know there was a website called yourmechanic.com that will come out there for $75. I would have paid $75 to check the car for me to make sure I do my due diligence. I'm documenting this process because I know these L's that I'm taking right now, somebody's gonna ask me when I do have my 50 cars, how you did it. I wanna make sure I'll be able to tell them how I did it from the beginning. So I'm documenting as I'm going, right? Long story short, my Maserati gets totaled out. I get paid out from the insurance, my credit score shoots up, I now need to get another car. I end up getting a Corvette. Long story short, y'all know the story, the Corvette got stolen, right? End up getting it back.
Flash out the miles.
Yeah, we know that situation. Credit score went up. These are all blessings in disguise.
For sure.
Right? My stress tolerance is now stronger. Like, anything can happen, I'm like, I know how to fix it. As long as you know how to fix a problem or focus on the solution, it's straight. And what was really self-therapeutic for me while I was taking those quote-unquote L's is, as I documented those L's, I knew that this was gonna be a learning lesson to teach. I know how to turn my pain into profit. Wow. To teach people the game on how to prevent yourself from taking these L's. So anytime I take an L, I'm like, okay, cool.
Wait. Let's not glaze over that though, right? Where does that mindset come from? Where is that that confidence come from? Because like I mean, even as you're talking now, right? Even as you're saying this, it sort of seems like, oh, yeah, I know how to turn my L's into wins. That's like one of the most difficult things for people to do. People take things so personally. People lose, and it's like the end of the world, right?
That's a fact.
I
get it too, I get it.
Right, and so where does that come from? Where does that mindset, where does that you have a it's like an unwavering faith. Where does that come from?
That's a good point, man, because I have to think about it. Again, it's trust in the process, but still, like, that's a little bit fluffy. How do you, like, get there, bro? Like, so it came from, actually, this is to be real, fear. Me documenting everything came from fear that nobody will believe me that this was actually how I did it. Literally. I was doing so many amazing things. If I told people, bro, you did not do that. You capped. It was like, okay, I didn't want anybody to think that I was inauthentic, a liar, over-exaggerator. Like, think about the situation I'm doing, 33 cars in 2 weeks, that sounds crazy. So it's cool.
Unless you know.
Unless you know what time it is.
Right. When we'll get to that. When you said the game, I said, yo, this dude is a genius. But yeah.
So instead of me having to worry about people not believing, I said, let me just document it, because I can show you better than I can tell you. Right. So that process of me documenting it allowed me to have more confidence to say, yo, I'm gonna do this way. If it's a win, cool. If it's a quote unquote, what I call a misfortune, or L lesson, I can be able to flip that anytime. And I had confidence because I did it already. I've done it so many times that I know that it works. So if somebody hasn't done it before, all they have to do is trust that I've done it before and just start the process. And once you do it, you'll start to believe it more. Right? So I'm trying to be an example of trusting the process. So yeah, long story short, I ended up getting those 3 cars. 2 of them got totaled, got paid out for it. My credit score shot up, crazy. Now I said, hold up. I know I can get multiple cars because I know how the credit process works. Right? So this is the game that I learned. When you have a credit profile that's good, strong credit profile, they pull that credit and you have 30 days to use that same profile to do what you need to do. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go to this dealership. I told them, I know how that process works. That's the thing. To be able to leverage stuff, you gotta know how things work on both sides.
Absolutely.
Both sides. And because I'm so interested on people, I can have a casual conversation about a banker or a credit or an underwriter, and he'll tell me his whole process. So I'm like, oh, so that's how the process works? I was like, okay, say less. So because that's how the process works, this is what I need to prepare to be able to get approved for this and approved for that.
Yep.
So because I learned the process, I was able to, without getting into those details, I was able to get multiple cars by hitting up, going to the dealership. I say, yo, run my credit with one person.
Right.
Don't run my credit with 15 million people.
Yep.
If I'm at Toyota, run my credit with Toyota. Toyota said, oh, dang. How many cars he want?
Yep. Right.
2, 3?
Right.
What's he do? Okay, cool. Give him his cars.
Right.
I go to Mitsubishi, I go to Mercedes, I go to BMW, do the same thing.
Right.
Right? Because 30 days, it's not going to show. The inquiries will show.
Right.
But not the actual that this man got a car.
And so let me unpack that for y'all real quick.
Yeah.
Big bar. So if y'all missed this, right?
Yeah.
So literally, so it happens with homes, it happens with cars. Those are the two places.
Credit cards, too.
Right, credit cards, right? It happens with these things, right? When you are applying for a credit card, when you're applying for a home loan, when you're applying for a car, it's already known industry-wise that people rate shop. So people are going to look at different banks to find the best possible rate. So it's not unordinary for somebody to walk into Mercedes-Benz and when they pull your credit report, they'll see credit pulls from Chevy, from all these different places. But the trick is that even if you bought a car from one of these places, it's not gonna show up on your credit report for 30 days out. And so this is why I said his risk tolerance, this was genius. Because he understood, right, how to turn this liability, which is a car that depreciates as soon as you drive it off the lot, turn it into an asset by putting on an app like Turo that allows people to rent this out. And so now he's done the numbers. He knows how much money he could make off of it, right? And so now he says, look, I'm going to multiply this play. I'm gonna go,
scale up.
right? I'm gonna scale up. So instead of going to Mercedes and saying, go, run my credit with all banks. No, run my credit only with Mercedes. So I'm gonna get 1, 2, 3 cars with Mercedes because I qualified for it. Now when I go to Chevy, I say, Chevy, just run my credit with Chevy. Chevy's gonna look and say, oh yeah, they got an inquiry from Mercedes, so he must have been just shopping around.
Yeah.
Now, yo, give me a bunch of, and you did this 33 blood fire.
Blood fire.
Yo. My guy did this 33. Yo, do y'all understand? I don't think y'all understand though.
Yeah, man. It was God's grace. It was God's grace. Again, I wasn't even strategic with it. It was like, it just made sense as it went along.
Right.
And yeah, I ended up running into more problems. Like, what are you gonna do with 33 cars now? Where are you parking these cars? Like, all these questions now I gotta figure out, but I didn't have to worry about it until I got there. So for me, like a GPS system, if I wanna know where I wanna go, it's gonna ask me first where I'm at. And then it's gonna allow me to know the steps to get there, but I'm not focused on all the steps, I'm just focused on the first step I need to do. Make your first right.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Right.
Once I make the first right, what I gotta do next? Make it left.
Right.
Sometimes what I realize from most entrepreneurs I deal with, we overanalyze and overwhelm ourselves by trying to get every step detail. Why am I making a right here? Why am I getting on this freeway? No, you gotta ask all that.
Right.
Just keep driving. If you gotta pivot, you gotta pivot. You gotta make a detour, you gotta make a detour. So that's the mindset I have on those different plays.
Wow.
To the point where I can now share the game with a bunch of other people. Because like I said, I do a lot of this stuff for myself and my family. Mainly for myself, but I don't keep it to myself.
Right.
So I share the game with anybody who wants to be able to tap into it.
And that's what I appreciate about you the most is the ability to, first of all, I really like the word humble, right? Because it for me, the word humble insinuates that you're dimming your light, right? And that's why I don't like the word.
I've heard that perspective.
Right, that's why I don't like the word humble.
Yeah.
But, so your light is shining bright, which is why I don't want to use that. And so you are selfless. I like selfless, right? You selflessly share, right? Like you're like, yo, if I'm gonna be on Clubhouse 8 hours, I'm gonna be on Clubhouse 8 hours. I'm gonna share the game, right? And so I appreciate that about you. And so, talk about that, because Clubhouse is like invite only. It's this, hot place to be. It's the new club in town, right?
Yeah.
And you are in there selflessly all the time, giving out information, giving out game, helping people not only change the trajectory of their personal life, but the game that you're giving is changing the trajectory of their family, of their next generation. Like this is game that people pay for, right? That, like, again, you selflessly give out. So talk to me a little bit about Clubhouse and how you're leveraging, that platform currently.
Yeah, definitely. One of the key words you mentioned was selflessness and humility. There's a quote that I tapped into like 2 years ago that really, really helped me understand what humility was. Not just from a biblical sense, but also from a secular sense as well. So the quote was, humility isn't thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. I said, yeah.
Big bar.
And that's one of my core values. So I realized that tapped into my core value. My core value is, how can I be resourceful? One of my core values is resourcefulness. And when it comes to Clubhouse is the first app that literally aligned with my core values at this scale. Resourcefulness. Because on that app, it's either you're giving or you're taking. Right? But I know the formula is the more that you give, the more that you can actually get back to give back to another person. So on that app, Clubhouse, there's people that's listening. You now have the ears, and it has a spirit of collaboration. That's why I tapped in. Once you come on that app, the culture of collaboration is instilled in you as soon as you get on the app. Like, oh, damn, people drop a game. Let me drop a game too. So whether it's out of pride and ego that you just want to be able to share information, or you actually want to help people tap into the information, it don't matter. At the end of the day, the information is being shared. Right. And with Clubhouse, that's actually how you gain your followership. By sharing game that people might not be privy to, or experiences that you have. And with me, I was able to hit the ground running because I got years of game that's not only just shared, but documented. So when I say, yo, people go to my website, go to my Trello board, they say, yo, Matt's been doing this. And now the people are giving me a lot of reverence and glory and honor, and I can literally direct that love back to my creator that I believe in, that allowed me to be in the position I'm in right now. So I believe that's the reason why I've been so blessed, is to be able to give honor and glory to God. That's my way to be able to do so. So Clubhouse has been a game changer. It's been able to accelerate relationships that probably was gonna happen in the future, but probably 5 years from now, it's happening right now. Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez, all these heavy hitters that I'll probably pay $2,500 to go to their conference, or $5,000 for a mastermind, is now being collaborated right there on the app, to the point where Grant Cardone, shout out to big homie Grant Cardone, he wants me to speak on his 10X conference in a couple months. All from Clubhouse.
Huge. Wow.
Crazy. And it's just about serving. Not just for the sake of serving. A lot of people serve just for the sake. Serve because that's what you're gonna do for life, to be able to help people take it to the next level. If you help people go to the next level, it helps you go to the next level.
Wow. Powerful. Big bars are being dropped. All right, so you talked earlier. You spoke earlier about getting your start. Party promoting, and your name was out there, and you weren't necessarily getting paid, but you were getting paid. And so like now you're at a space where you have multiple businesses, you've been in the game for many years, you've helped many businesses, scale and systemize and things of that nature. Looking back, what money advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Definitely. There's a quote that we've heard of, it takes a village to raise a child. I think it was Neo. He said it takes a village to raise an entrepreneur. So the advice I would have told myself was, whether it's monetarily or social currency, I would invest it into mentorship. So this can be directed to an 18-year-old, 14-year-old, or their parents. Creating a circle of mentorship around that childhood that can grow into what we see even with CEO Trey Brown.
Fast out to Trey Brown.
Oh my goodness.
That
beast. His mother. Mentors
14-year-old.
Everybody, I had to really analyze, how is he in the position that he's in right now? The circle. The circle of influence, him being coachable, him being aligned with the right information and exposed to the right opportunities. And that's what and again, I trust God's process. That wasn't my process. It wasn't supposed to be my process. But if I had to go back, 18 years from now, right? 15 years, whatever case may be, and say, yo, Matty,
Yep.
go ahead and do this real quick before I bounce up out of here.
Right.
Oh yeah, invest in some Amazon stock too when it come up. But
Big
on
facts.
the total for sure.
Yep.
Make sure your circle is tight and you focus on mentorship and being a mentor.
I love that. And you mentioned Trey Brown, so fast shout to Spurgo. And you know, what advice? So now that you are Matty J, you have this experience. You know, what advice would you give to a young person, you know, who's maybe thinking about entrepreneurship, who wants to start? Like, you know, my daughter's 12 years old. You know, so she watches myself, she watches my wife. You know, we both run businesses, so she watches us. She's getting some of that information from us. You know, so like you mentioned, surrounding yourself. But what if an entrepreneur who is a teenager, a younger person, but someone who's looking to start right in business? You know, what advice would you give them?
Yes, as long as it's probably around the same lines of like, think about the basketball players. They started young, but how did they become pro athletes in football and basketball? They started young in training camps, AAU, things of that nature. But we don't have those training camps for entrepreneurship. So whether it's our responsibility to start creating those training camps or the children's or the young adults to say, yo, we need these training camps, I think that's where it's going to be crucial. Because we can produce LeBron James, well, not LeBron James, but amazing athletes.
Absolutely,
you know
absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can produce those, but we haven't created a training program at a young age to really produce these top entrepreneurs in mathematics, engineering, tech, science that really mold and shake the world. I think that's where the real wealth comes from.
I love that. And so, you know, I guess my follow-up question to that though now is, regardless of age, right? 14, 15, 50, 60, 70. You think about what's happening with COVID-19, with job losses, with like some people will look at this time and say, we are living in some tough economic times. And so what advice do you have for the entrepreneur who is, you know, who's having a tough time? Like how do you gotta manage a lot, right? And so how do you, you know, what advice would you give them?
So for me, we blame external reasons for our lack of growth for years.
Whoa. Say that one more time.
We blame external reasons for our lack of growth. And we blame external issues. So one of my favorite lines is, if you say the word issue really slow, it sounds like it's you, right? So that made me tap into personal accountability. And that was hard, that's difficult for people to say, let me not look at over here, let me just look in the mirror real quick. And start working on self-development, personal development, asking myself the right questions so I can look at things internally, spiritually versus externally. So that's the first thing for sure. To the point where I actually created a model to help people with this, personal development. Lauryn Hill says, how you gonna win if you ain't right within? That's literally starts at the internal. So, okay, cool, that's good information, but how can we actually make this practical? So I created a model called Splashed. I know educators are really good at turning things and systems into acronyms. So I found an acronym for what I really wanted to teach. Splashing yourself with water, keeping a reset. So the S stands for story. If you were to ask most people, even myself last year, what my story was from a time point, I wouldn't be able to break it down like that in that structured way. We saw the documentary Last Dance. Michael Jordan. We got to tap into who he was on a deeper level because we learned his story. Not just on the court, but off the court. We also learned all the players that are around him, the influences around him, his family, the coaches, everything that influenced Michael Jordan, who we knew today. So a lot of people, we don't know ourselves. We haven't created our own documentary. We'll wait until we die to create our biography, or somebody create a biography for us. We can create our biography today by asking ourselves the right questions. So the S in Splash, it stands for what's your story? So what I did was, I'm 30 years old as of right now. I wrote every year that I lived on this earth, from 1990 to 2020, 2021, now that we're in 21. Every year, what major life event happened to me on each year? I wrote it down. Major relationships, major schooling, major mishaps, fortunes, successes, every major life event, just like if I was making a documentary for myself for each year. Yeah. And as I was making that documentary list or that outline or script, I started to realize, dang, I forgot I went through that. Dang, I forgot. That's why I talk like I talk. That's why, because this happened. This girlfriend I had was over here. This person, my mom split up. I got to understand my own story. So it started there. So that's the S in Splash. The P was my personality. In order for me to know myself and my characters and how I respond to things, I need to know my personality type, right? And not use that as an excuse, but tap into my good personality and find out what areas I may be lacking in. So the P stands for identifying my personality. So I took tests like the DISC assessment, there's 16 personalities tests. Sorry, there's so many different tests. Right? Then there's the L in Splash, life lessons. I wrote down, I believe God's gonna keep giving you the lessons if you don't learn from them. So I wrote down every life lesson that I had. Even when I missed a Bible study one time, I was supposed to be at a Bible study. I chose to play basketball instead. I knew I was supposed to be at the Bible study. I played basketball, crossed the dude over, his whole tooth went in my eye.
Wow.
Right? That's why I got this whole mark, stitches and everything. Yep. And as I was sitting there, I wasn't complaining. I'm like, hey, why is this happening to me? Why I gotta pay for this? Internally, I knew I wasn't supposed to be there.
Wow.
I had to take accountability, and that was a life lesson to put my priorities in order, right? And then this is a scar that's gonna be there every time I wake up to say, you need to make sure your priority's there.
Wow.
And give me an opportunity to share that experience with other people.
Wow.
Right? So that's the life lessons, the L. Then the A stands for abilities. I really need to ask myself questions that really allow me to identify what things I'm really good at and what things I'm lacking in when it comes to the ability aspect. And then there's the S, it stands for scares. I wanted to make it fears, but it didn't match up with the acronym Splash.
Right.
So I said scares. I made it make sense.
Right.
So what things am I currently scared of or fearful of that might be hindering my process to move forward? So fear stands for false evidence appearing to be real.
Right.
And I realized that once you actually identify what you think you're fearful of and look at the monster in his face, you can identify that this really ain't nothing, right? Yeah. If you go through the proper procedure. So that's the S. And then we have the H, my habits. I need to identify my personal habits, the good and bad. Then we have the E. I need to identify the things that entertained me, empowered me, educated me, excited me, and really identify why those things do those things for me. If somebody's life is in track, and they write the things that they excite them, oh, that's why I'm at where I'm at, because these are the things that I consider educational. Listen to these bad music songs or these movies or doing. Once you identify, oh, that's why I'm not where I'm at, because I'm doing this, watching this, tapping into this, you're able to change and redraw your circle. Then the last one is D, splashed. Declaration of my core values. In the United States, most of the policies that we have, laws, are based off of the Constitution. They have to align with the Constitution. So the things I do in my business, my personal life, it has to align with my core values. And if they don't align, they disalign. So we got the S, it stands for stories. We have the P, it stands for personalities. L, life lessons. A, abilities. S, scares. H, habits. We want to really identify our habits. We have the E, the events that educate you, excite you, entertain you, empower you. And D, the declaration of your core values, your mission, your purpose. That was the motto I used.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. And so I want to shift gears a little bit, right? So we, inside the vault, we want to talk about, right? We'll talk about what's inside the vault. But, as somebody who has had a lot of success in business, has made a lot of money in business, what was your first extravagant purchase? What's the first thing you purchased that was like, yo, I'm talking like the moment you look and you like, yo, I made it, like I'm good. What was that first purchase?
To be honest, it was part of the Turo bill. I got an Aventador, but it was for rent, so it just made sense. It wasn't like, this is gonna be just another liability. Everything I spend always makes sense, right? And those are two things that people really spend most of their money on frivolously. It's either clothes, cars, or homes. And my cars is a business, so I drive all my luxury cars as a business. Other people pay for it. Same thing with my houses, my condos. Only thing I might be tripping on my frivolous spend is probably my clothes. Now I got all this abundant money. It's I'm making more money than I'm figuring out how to spend it. I have been in the Louis stores like heavy, the Gucci stores heavy, YSL heavy. Yeah. But hopefully that's just a little situation that's happening right now.
Right.
Hopefully I kick that.
Right.
But yeah, as far as extravagant, nothing crazy, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Nothing crazy. I've been making money since I was 17. So I always got what I needed, not even through just spending it money to get it, just through relationships.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's, I know it's not nothing crazy, but that was my specific situation.
No, and you know, that's real, you know, because I think that not everybody, you know, I mean, number one, just being a young black man, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, automatically people think of, hey, you know, we're not all wise with money, right? But the fact of the matter, and that's why I think this is so impactful because, you know, the saying you can have your cake and eat it too. Yo, you got foreigns, right? Like people, you know, and that's the thing, right? You got financial gurus out here saying, yo, a car's a liability, but yo, this man literally just gave you the whole play. Not the whole play, but a majority of the play on how
sample bars.
You know what I mean? Some sample bars, right? Because you know listen,
I mean, if we had a whole 3 weeks to talk about, we could.
Big facts. But we gonna get our viewers a treat. We gonna figure out how we can get them the whole game and nothing but the game to help them grind. But like literally, right? Like literally now when you know what I'm saying? Like you know, married man, I've been trying to figure out how I can pull up in the Wraith. But now you get now courtesy of Matty J.
Make it make sense.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna make it make sense. When I pull up in the all-white Wraith, you know what I'm saying? I get the now say, nah, baby, this ain't no liability.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Matty taught me. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm excited there. And so, you know, what would you say? What has been the most impactful thing you've done with your money?
Impactful. All right, so I'm really big on this. Most of us, we're trained and heard the buzzword passive income. My boy, Brother Ben X, shout out to 19 Keys, Derek Grace, everybody over there at BWO, Jake Taylor, Jake over there too, Taylor.
And my guy Chris Cole, salute to my guy Chris. Yeah. Salute to the homie.
Everybody over there.
Yeah.
Specifically, Brother Ben X, he said, it's not about the passive income, it's about passive impact.
Ooh, big bars.
I said, yo,
big bars.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Passive impact. If we can create way, because what we've been doing is active impact.
Right.
Even this right here is passive impact, because once this video gets uploaded, it will impact somebody because they're going to hear information that they weren't privy to. But that's going to be evergreen content that's going to be there on the internet forever. So if we can create assets, right, that are impactful and put them on digital platforms or spaces where it can be there after we even pass away, that's how we really create the impact. So for me, how I will specifically be able to spend my money on something the most impactful was on myself. I didn't necessarily spend money. Because I'm not really big on spending money.
Right.
I spent a lot of time. A lot of time on personal development. And when my personal development got strong, it got to a point where I can build any business I want. Anything. If somebody say, yo, Matty, set up a tissue paper company and we're gonna give you 90 days to make $1 million, it's gonna happen. I know how to make it happen, right? I may not know the exact steps right now, but I know I can do it.
Right.
Period. Because I have the resources, the social currency, the relationships to make sure it gets happen. And most importantly, I have the belief. And that's when it comes down to the vault, like you said, what's in my mind. I have a strong belief system in myself through personal development.
Wow. What is Matty J afraid of?
Dang. I'm still afraid of anything that attacks my core values. Resourcefulness, I'm afraid that I can't be resourceful. Transparency is one of my core values. I'm afraid that I'll be in a position where I can't be transparent, which will then turn to make people believe that I'm not real or there's something he's hiding or why is he giving so much, things of that nature. And my other core value is unity. I'm afraid, I don't believe it's gonna happen, but if I was to be afraid of something, it would be disunity, lack of collaboration, lack of opportunities to work together as a team, teamwork. Anything that goes against those core values, I'm fearful of, strong.
Wow.
Because those are my superpowers. So if I had an arch enemy, that person would hit me with the disunity powers against me. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so You know, look, Matt, first of all, my guy, Matty J, has dropped so much bars today.
Thanks to God.
Look, all praises due, right? God, you know what I mean? Greatness on display. So I like to say we're made in the image and likeness of God, right?
I just caught the bar. You said greatness on display. God.
Catch that, right? Catch that. We're made in the image and likeness of God. So our only job on here is to be God, little g.
Little G, make sure you emphasize
Little
that.
G.
Okay.
Which is greatness on display. And you, my brother, are that.
Shine God's light. I see you now. I'm going to use that. I need that.
Greatness on display. You are that.
Thanks to God.
Without a doubt. So first of all, if we just stop right here, you've blessed the universe in perpetuity forever, right? But I want to keep going. I want to keep going. I want to keep going, right? So I want to get into, you know what I mean? So I still need some Matty J bars, right? Inside the vault. What is the greatest, the best financial advice you ever received?
Yeah, that's for sure. First off, if anybody doesn't know how to interview people, I hope people are taking notes of how the energy that you have when it comes to this. It makes it easy for the conversation to flow. For my best financial advice, for sure, was you got to know the numbers to grow the numbers. When I heard that, I love words that flow. Of course, that rhyme, that's how we are in the culture. Sure. But it stuck with me to this day. I heard this 2012. My mentor, Jason McGill and Will Bradley. You got to know the numbers to grow the numbers. So once I started focusing, that really helped me, because I'm really analytical, it really helped me focus on my key metrics, looking at the dashboards, looking at the numbers, because I don't like making decisions based off feelings and emotions. I want to make data-driven decisions. And the only way to do that is to focus on the numbers. And that really helped me with my accounting, helped me focus on the fact that when I got $100 come in for an order, it's not just $100, transaction fees are coming out of that. Shipping and fulfillment got to come out. Like, me knowing the breakdown before the bottom line, it really helped me with my financial sense moving forward.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And what is the greatest life lesson you've learned?
Life lesson was documenting everything. That's core. Documentation. Yeah. Once I got privy to the importance of documenting, and then I was presented with the tools that allow me to do so, like my iPhone notes, Asana, Trello boards, to be able to tap into documenting the process, it's a game changer, because I can become like a historian, right? Again, something amazing just happened. It should be documented and passed along to somebody else. But if you don't document it, that information is going to die with you. And that's probably the most selfish thing I can ever do. Literally, I realized that I'm doing a disservice to mankind if I don't document what I do and pass it on to somebody else. Wow.
It's so funny you say that, because that's the reason why I write books, and I teach people how to write books. Because even if you take it back to our history as Black and brown people, right? That was the one thing that they got rid of, right? So a lot of times people talk about generational wealth and passing down wealth. The first thing they think about is passing down money, right? Passing down like material wealth.
Intellectual property.
Intellectual
IP.
property, like that's the wealth. And so that's why, I do what I do, right? Author, written 10 books, 4 bestsellers.
Yes, sir.
I teach other people how to write books to document their legacy, to pass it down so people could know. So I love that. I love that. All right, we're gonna talk real quick, lightning round. And so 3 questions, right? So real quick, lightning round. What we've done,
off the top of the dome, huh?
Right, off top of the dome. What we've done is we've taken, we in the vault, literally, and we've taken some bank terms, right? We've taken some bank terms and we've kind of flipped them a little bit. So the first term I'm gonna throw at you is deposit slip. A lot of people, when they think about deposit slips, they think about depositing money. But what is the biggest mistake you've made with money? What is your deposit slip?
Okay, I ain't gonna lie. This is transparency coming through. My biggest mistake was focusing on my business and not my business. My business is supposed to be my family. So as I was most of my entrepreneurship, I was neglecting my relationship with my parents, neglecting the relationship with my wife, my kids, and justifying it by, I gotta make this money, I gotta break this bread so we can eat over here. So that's probably the biggest mistake. I'm now learning. I now have a relationship coach. I now have somebody who's making me focus on managing my time better. And because as an entrepreneur, I didn't have an off time. If I had a 9 to 5, I would have had a little bit more understanding about structure. You go into work and you clock out, and now you don't have to focus about the business no more. But sometimes I didn't have the luxury of that mindset before. But now that I do, I wish I had done that earlier. So now that I make that mistake, I make sure that I let entrepreneurs know up front. It's not going to be a situation of balance. It's just a mindset of prioritizing your family over your business.
Wow.
For sure.
Big bar.
For
and,
sure.
And I know I can relate.
Yeah.
I know there's so many people. Oh, that's a big bar. All right.
Yeah.
Next term, cancel check. Right? We think about a cancel check. We think about, somebody writes a check and there's not enough money, right? Cancel check for us means what are some people or mindsets that you had to cancel on your journey?
When I hear cancel check, I think about bouncing. So the people I bounced out of my life for sure were some of the people whose values didn't align with mine. So I started off in the party industry.
Yep.
All they cared about was women, clothes, and yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Money, clothes, and that's all about. Yeah. We get
Right? And that wasn't my value at its core. Yeah, it was cool to be around these women and get all this love and appreciation, but that wasn't it. So I had to make sure that, one, I had my standards clearly set and communicated. And I didn't even have to cut them off. It just naturally happened. Right? Which is cool.
Yeah.
We still are associates, but because I'm living this type of lifestyle, and this is the lifestyle I feel like it's important for me, those things happen. So those are some of the canceled checks, or I can say these checks got bounced for, put it over here to the side. We can cash them out whenever we can, we want to.
Right.
That was the situation with those relationships. Other things, I had to cancel checks for my horrible mindset. A lot of businesses, endeavors that I got into, it exposed my arrogance, my lack of humility in situations, my lack of organization. Things that I get praised for, but I got exposed in different businesses, like Airbnb. I didn't realize how unhospitable I was until I got Airbnb.
Wow.
That's real servitude, right? I had people come into my units cursing me out. Why is this, hold on, chill.
Right.
I developed through those situations, and so I was able to cancel checks of my old mindset to the point where every quarter, I want to reintroduce myself to the world.
Wow.
That's the mindset I want to have.
I love that. And last but not least, trust account, right? So everybody, we wish to be the trust fund babies where we have something left over. But for us, trust account is, who are those people that help us on that journey. So when you think about your trust account, what does your trust account look like?
That's hard. So for me, I'm really big in my church, like really focused on biblical foundation. So the members of my church, the leadership of my church, the missionaries, pastors, deacons, all those things, those are the core. They laid the foundation to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do according to God's will. So I then take those specific principles, those guidelines, those boundaries to be able to identify who I need to trust in my, not just spiritual life, but physical life, which is interconnected. So that helped a lot with making sure that I have the right people around me, like my mentors. I got two major mentors. He hates when I call them mentors, Jason McGill, Will Bradley. I got my peers, and then of course I have my mentees. So everybody knows who my peers are, from the Him 500, Neos, Jason, Justin, everybody, Nick, everybody. So I make sure that I have those people around me. Not only I have my mentors to keep my standards higher, I have my peers, and then I have my mentees to keep me sharing the game.
No, I love it. All right, Matty, look.
My wife.
Oh.
My wife.
Cut. We got that's the trust account first. We can keep that on the trust account first. Salute.
My wife, Erica.
Absolutely. Fast shout to Erica.
For sure, my wife, Erica.
To the first lady.
Of course, God, my parents, my wife.
Yes.
Trust the process, my wife.
Yes.
Believe that. Erica, Miss Erica, CEO Miss Erica, for sure.
Salute. All right, and so there's a lot of money myths out there, right? Money don't grow on trees. You got to work hard for money, and money's the root of all evil. All these different money myths. Give me a money myth, and I need you to dispel it for me.
Okay. First one that comes to my mind is you have to make money. Or you have to have money to make money.
Yeah.
Or you have to spend money to make money. Things of that nature. So for me, you don't have to necessarily have the money to build businesses. For me, I really leverage relationships, social currency versus actual tangible dollar bills. So I had actually an argument with somebody, humble argument in LA Fitness. he said, yeah, man, you gotta have money to start these businesses. I'm like, no, there's different strategies. He didn't know what I did and he didn't know who I was, so he was just going hard on me.
Right.
He said, yeah, you gotta have money to make money. Right? I'm like, no, you don't. You gotta have relationships. You have to know what you want. You have to have a solve to a problem, and you can be able to leverage like that. So I showed so many examples of how you can be able to start business with zero money. You just have to have your mission statement, and you need to rally up the troops. With the mission statement, you can say, yo, I've identified a problem. I want to be the one to volunteer to solve it. Would you guys walk with this mission with me, along with me, and you guys could get first early access to whatever this product is, but you just gotta buy into it, right? And that's my job as the leader of the army, to be able to rally up the troops. And there's different ways to do it in a business through pre-sale models. Like for example, a t-shirt. I don't have to have 1,000 t-shirts to sell 1,000 t-shirts. I just have to have the message, be able to convey the message, rally up the troops, and they'll actually pay for the shirts up front. I grab the money, make sure the shirts get made, distribute the shirts, everybody's jersey, everybody's uniform. Now everybody goes out wearing the shirts and brings back more income funding to the business because they're now walking billboards of the mission.
Wow, wow, powerful, powerful, powerful. And then so lastly, what advice, right, as an entrepreneur, there are a lot of people who, you know, have 9-to-5s, right? Who, you know, are currently working a job and they're trying to figure out that it's probably not their passion and they're trying to, you know, they got a side hustle that they've started. What advice would you give to a side hustler?
Yeah, so for me, I first had the mindset, one of my biggest posts on my own social media was the #1 regret of being an entrepreneur was not being an employee first. And it got so much traction. I'm like, why did it get so much traction? Because I actually mentioned in that post that I didn't get a chance to learn payroll, team development, all the things that you actually learn in working with people, learning how to listen to other people's supervisors, managers, knowing when to clock in, clock out. Those things I wish I learned because I can have applied it to my business. I ran into a situation with this young lady at a conference. After I spoke on the stage, she told me, everybody was mentioning what they did. She said with a disheartening voice, no confidence. It was her chance to share where she worked at. She said, yeah, I work at a 9-to-5. Oh, where you work at? She didn't want to tell nobody. She worked at McDonald's. I was like, hold up, why did she say it like that? She works at the #1 fast food company in the world. She could have said that. But she said, I just work at McDonald's. So I'm like, we gotta look at how these 9-to-5s completely different. So I helped her realize that, one, you work at the #1 real estate agent, real estate, we already know from the digression founder, they're in the real estate space. So I helped her realize that she can go in that 9-to-5 to figure out all the things that they're doing well, learn, and then apply it to her own situation as a transitional period. So that was the mindset that I'll first have and recommend in the 9-to-5. And then use those different tools that you learned in these 9-to-5s and to run your own business if that's what you want to do.
All right, y'all, so Matty J, CEO Matty J, serial entrepreneur, serial impactor, serial everything, right? So make sure if y'all didn't tap into what this guy was the gems beyond gems that he was dropping, then you was asleep. I don't know what you was paying attention to. Matty J, what's next for you?
First of all, I was a fan of you before this, but now I'm a whole AC.
Thank you.
Right,
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
That's big bars. Ash, cash, AC, AC. Oh, I love what you just did there.
Yeah, once again, y'all, I'm CEO Matty J, digital real estate agent. I'm glad everybody was able to tap in. If anybody wants to follow my journey, it's well documented on my social media pages. I'm mainly on Instagram. You can find me at CEO Matty J. And of course, if you want to find me on my website, ceomattyj.com. But most importantly, it's not about my resources. It's about the resources that are being provided through the vault. So if anybody wants to tap into the materials that we shared today, the insight that we shared today, the resources that we shared today, we can go to the resources that are going to provide, well, I'm sure in the description.
Yeah, listen, we're gonna have everything that we talked about. We're gonna have a resource for you right in the description. Make sure you tap in, tune in. Can we do something special for anybody who taps in?
We'll do 50%.
Okay, I mean, you tell me.
Yeah, 50%.
50%, what code should they use?
Vault, V-A-U-L-T, Vault. You're gonna be able to tap into that.
All right, so tap in, hit the link in the description. Matty J, also let the people know where they can find you. I know you said your website.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really big on Clubhouse
Yes.
right now, so find me on Clubhouse, Matty J, CEO Matty J, and Instagram, CEO Matty J, my website, CEOMattyJ.com.
All right, y'all, there you have it. Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. We just dropped bars
sir.
over bars over bars. We let you inside the vault of this. Listen, I'm not trying to hype him up. I literally have learned so much listening to this guy for hours and hours and hours. We did the best that we can in the hour or however long this was to give you as much information as possible. But make sure y'all tap in, tune in. I'm gonna see y'all next time. I am Ash Cash, Inside the Vault. I'll see you next time.